Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Mindshifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie. Michael and Jeanie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rachma. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce.
And the truth that is rooted within me.
Hi, and welcome to Mindshifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. And today is day 71 of our Memorial Day celebration. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. We'd love to hear from you. Hello, Michael.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you, sweetie. Nice to be here. Nice to have the privilege of celebrating Memorial Day one more time. And for those who are new to the show, who are not familiar with what our Memorial Day celebration is about, is that we've actually decided that we will celebrate every day for the rest of eternity Memorial Day. And our way of celebrating Memorial Day is to invite everyone on the show to pick one issue that you have, one situation in your life where your mind serves up to you some form of hostility or fear. And if it serves up some form of hostility or fear, the presence of that energy becomes part of what creates war on the planet. So our invitation is that we together put an end to war on planet Earth. How are we going to do that? By creating a critical mass of people who've decided they're going to face in themselves anything that is unlike love, anything that is unlike a human life, and restore that human life to the Earth. How do you tell what a human life is? How do you define that, Michael? It's easy. Just go hold a newborn child. You'll know exactly what human life is. And you'll see that the Earth's just about void of it. And it's time for us to bring human life back to the planet, and that's our invitation. So if you remove everything that is unlike love that's in your structure, if you learn to forgive, and if you're not familiar with the forgiveness process we're speaking of, please go to our website, www.whyagain.com, and on the right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets. That Download Worksheets section tells you exactly how to do the forgiveness process. You'll see a new chapter 24 from my book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? You'll see a link. The second link is the actual 7-step, the latest 7-step worksheet. And by the way, Jeanie, is Series 6 or Workshop 6 from this year, is that the one that we've got on the website? I think I sent it to you a couple of weeks ago. There were some changes. I'm not even sure.
I didn't understand your question.
Okay. Well, we had a version 5 for 2011 of the worksheet.
No,
and
I don't have that one yet. So you
okay.
Send it to me. It'll be out there.
Okay. Well, I just sent it a few minutes ago, so it's
okay.
in your inbox. Awesome. So the third item on that list is a sample radio show, actually from just last week, where we had a young lady who was extremely courageous and extremely willing to step in and take part in the experience of the Aramaic forgiveness process. And so there's a sample. We walked this young lady right through the whole worksheet process, and it was an awesome experience for everybody. I think that Lynn got a huge piece of her puzzle out of it, and everybody that was on the show was just ecstatic at the results that it produced and seeing how the process works. So come and join us in doing the forgiveness process and celebrating Memorial Day. Once again, let's eradicate hostility and fear from planet Earth. Let's bring human life into full expression. Jeanie, do we have any callers or anything in the chat room happening?
No, it's real quiet today. There's just right now. There's only 2 people in the chat room, and a few people on the phone, but they're all just listening.
Okay.
And I'm here.
Cool. Dr. Tim
Yes,
is there.
Tim
How are you, sir?
I'm doing beautifully, thank you. I'm basking in the afterglow of that fabulous show last Tuesday. I had the occasion to share it with a number of people, including the entire support group on Tuesday night. And I've received 2 powerful emails from people who have listened to the show and been motivated by Lynn's work to do their own work. So it was absolutely fabulous, and just keeps giving. So I strongly encourage people to go back and listen to last Tuesday's show and have a worksheet with them. And if you have any questions about how to do it, that show should spell it out for you in ways and very powerfully as you get to experience Lynn's flow and see her demonstrate, as we've talked about, fabulous willingness. So
yeah, it was pretty awesome. There were so many places where, as I fed back to her, her part in it, her responsibility, she could have reared up and gone into resistance and, gotten mad at me with the same anger that she had seemingly toward those other situations, but just her willingness to receive the feedback and go, wow, oh, never thought, didn't see that, wow, ooh, and the result was just so awesome that we're actually, I think, going to turn that into a CD that we'll have available on our tape table so people will have that sample because it was just so powerful. So
well,
if you're listening, Lynn, we thank you and appreciate you.
Yeah, and I just have to say that both of the people who've emailed me about it, I shared it with about 6 or 8 people outside of the group last week, but both of them that have emailed me back have said they've really keyed into how Lynn's work let them realize and be honest about how they have work to do on themselves, and that she showed them how it's safe to do that. So, the one email says,
That's
while
a huge piece of the puzzle.
Pardon me?
I say it's such a huge piece of the puzzle, isn't it? When somebody lives, you go all the way back into the book of James, and you hear James 2,000 years ago saying to people, stop your denial. And when we deny a connection between something that we have happening today and something from our past, something we've dissociated from, we can never heal. We can never repair that. That's going to become our automatic, why is this happening to me again experience. And Lynn she touched into 3, really major life issues in that one worksheet, and her willingness to come out of denial, own it, and move through it was just so awesome. And it's not an easy thing to do, especially if you think that your life, that your self-approval or somebody else's approval depends on you not having anything that looks like that. And the truth is, we've all got stuff that looks like that. And as we own it and are supportable through it, it's awesome to see what happens. And I don't know what's happening. I've been trying to get in the chat room, but it just won't open for me today. So anyway.
Well, so far it's just Joe and Jeanie and I in the chat room. One more thing that happened today was as I was driving in, I was listening to an interview by a man who wrote a book about the 33 miners that were trapped in Chile.
Right.
And it's a fabulous story of how the 33 men created a community that didn't deteriorate into chaos, and they were doing beautifully until they introduced television. And the story from the men about how once the television was introduced, everything began to break down. People didn't want to do their regular chores. They fought about what was going to be watched on television. It was for me, that was the part of the interview that said, it's so important for us to manage what we put in to our system, both from within our own thought and what we allow to inundate us from the outside without questioning.
Yeah. I remember when our son was in college, and, he's studying what is supposed to be high literature, which is something he has to learn for school. And so what's the story about? It's a story about, and I don't even remember the name of the book or who the author was, but it's some, highfalutin, sophisticated author. And what are they brainwashing? What are they programming this young mind with? A man who has an affair and how wonderful it is and and how he's cheating on his wife. And you look at, as you say, the kind of input that goes into the mind. And it's just, so many people sent their children off to school, off to college, and when they came back, they didn't recognize them. And it's because of that kind of input that's insane. I mean, it's just bizarre. And several times through his 4 years in college, we touched in. Fortunately, he had the awareness to not buy into that stuff. But several times throughout his college career, we talk about something that he was studying, and it was degraded, depraved, and insane. And even just being forced to read about the details of a traumatic life and what that stirs in people if it's not recognized, and if forgiveness isn't available, as you're saying with the television set, it can stir those dynamics in people that create crazy time. So it's an interesting game, and I don't have much respect for what the Greeks did by way of translation work of the Aramaic scriptures, but I do have respect for one thought that they came up with, and they said, guard the portal to the mind. Be careful what, in the way of speech, you allow into your mind, because those units of speech control behavior beyond most people's, most remote thoughts. The control is so far beyond. That's one of the things we were reading of David Bohm's, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, where he talks about people think that they control their own thoughts, but the truth is they're controlled by their thoughts. And when we intercourse on the thought level with every kind of insanity going, oftentimes we conceive. And when we conceive, we give birth to an experience. And so often people aren't even aware. They don't have a clue who the father of that experience was when they actually conceived that particular insanity, and then why they gave birth to it. Where did this come from? And recognizing that this is a creative process, this thing called life, that we are creators, and as creators, we have the opportunity to create unconsciously, and it can be manipulated with words, or we can create consciously. And as we create consciously, step into that process with a really total full awareness. Here's David Bohm's thinking on that. He says, one begins to wonder what's going to happen to the human race. Technology keeps advancing with greater and greater power, either for good or for destruction. What's the source of this trouble? I'm saying that the source is basically in thought. I say the system has a fault in it, a systemic fault. It's not a fault here, a fault there, a fault here. It's a fault throughout the whole system. He says it's everywhere and nowhere. That system includes thoughts and feelings, but, not only thoughts and feelings, but the state of the body includes the whole of society. And it's bizarre when you see what that mind that stores information from the past can be stimulated into with something as simple as you say, in that case, a television. He said, Bohm goes on to say, the generally accepted assumption is that thought is just telling you the way things are and that it's not doing anything, that you're inside there deciding what to do with the information. But you don't decide what to do with the information. He says, thought runs you. Thought gives you false information. You're running it. You're the one who controls thought. What thought is actually doing is controlling each one of us. And so it takes really, and that's part of the work, is to get really conscious of how it is that our minds operate. If we are unconscious of that, then it's impossible to become a conscious operator. So Jeanie just walked in and handed me an awesome-smelling glass of fresh juice. We're in the fasting phase of the intensive. We're day 2 of our juice fast. We've got one more day. And I have this awesome beet, carrot, smells like maybe parsley juice that she just handed me. So I offer the energy of this juice to everybody that's listening. Is Peacemaker with us, by the way, by chance?
Well, not Peacemaker, but Lynn is on.
Okay, young lady.
I don't know if she's on the phone, but she's on the chat room and said hello. And I'm not sure she heard all of the high praise and thanks we were offering earlier, so I just want to reiterate that Lynn, I've shared the program from last Tuesday with a number of people and already gotten 2 thank you emails from people who have taken your lead and are looking at their own issues and are just shocked at how much good it's doing them.
That process of forgiveness is so awesome when you step into it. And the things you learn about yourself, the things you see, the shifts and changes that take place. It's pretty amazing. So we thank you for that Aramaic input. People look at the worksheet and say, Michael, what you've come up with is so awesome. But actually, I wish I had figured it out. I wish I were smart enough to have come up with it. I didn't. I had the awesome opportunity to actually get to share in some of the Aramaic wisdom of the man they call Jesus, whose real name is Yeshua, and what he actually taught, which has been, by and large, disappeared on the planet and replaced with a belief system about him rather than accepting and following his instructions for how to create the experience of a human life. And so we're here to support everybody in reclaiming a human life. What is a human life? Hold a newborn child, you know exactly what it is.
So, Michael,
yes, sir.
Do you know the name Anthony DeMello?
I've heard the name Anthony DeMello over the years, yes. I don't know him.
All right. Well, one of the people that was sending me thanks for giving them the audio of Lynn's show last Tuesday sent back a series of quotes from Anthony DeMello. One of them is, anytime you have a negative feeling toward anyone, you're living in an illusion. There's something seriously wrong with you. You're not seeing reality. Something inside you has to change. But what do we generally do when we have a negative feeling? Quote, he's to blame, she's to blame, she's got to change.
No, you've seen people do that, Tim?
Well, this is a quote from Anthony DeMello, so he's seen it, and he's writing about it. And it just goes on. It's like, big chunks out of your book. So Anthony DeMello apparently was tuned into the same truths.
Well, and, the language we use in this work is that if your mind is using hostility or fear, it's using corrupt data to build its pictures, to build its output, and you're living in a hallucination. Most people refuse to believe that. No. This is not my hallucination. This is your fault. And it's just, it's like so classic. And again, you go all the way back 2,000 years ago. Stop your denial. Stop pretending that it's about you. And a lot of times people will never directly deny, but the way that denial usually shows up for people, the language they usually use is, you made me. So full-blown, absolute, total denial is, you made me. You made me sad. You made me afraid. You made me, want to, whatever. When you put the power outside yourself to create something inside yourself, you've entered into denial. And what happens is the words you use tell your mind to structure an hallucination. The problem is outside of me. But, there's a couple of kind of tongue-in-cheek lines I like to deliver. One of them is, well, if they're the one with the problem, why are you the one with the pain? Something about that doesn't make sense. Why, if you've been through this 87 different times with 42 different people, why is it that 100% of the time, every time, you're the one that was in pain? You're the one that was in pain because there was something in you that you need to look at. And most people they want all of that to change. They want all of that to be fixed, but they don't want to look in there and deal with what's there. And they hate the people who support them looking in there. They want to take off their heads. There's the John the Baptist story, The king and queen, John delivers information to them that they don't want to hear. Their stress goes up, and they want to take off John's head for what's going on inside of them. And that's just classic non-human life operating. That's the whole basis of war. That's why we're inviting everybody to pick a situation in your life where you're willing to move through one simple hostility or fear. Just break down one today. Break down another one tomorrow and another one the next day. And what will happen is you will become the energy field which evaporates blame from the planet. And when that energy field evaporates, guess what? Nobody is going to have the inclination to shoot somebody ever again. But once you live in that hallucination, what was it DeMello called it?
An illusion.
Illusion, yeah. Once you live in that illusion or that hallucination, that picture in your mind that says it's somebody else's fault, now you have that person degraded in your mind, and it's not a far step. A very short step is to degrade them then verbally, emotionally, and it's not a very long step to where I pull out a gun and shoot them. Because now that I have this lower being who's the problem in my life and the cause of my pain, if I just get rid of them, then my pain will be gone. Have anybody here ever gotten rid of somebody and your pain was gone? Not in a million years. Sooner or later, that pain has to be dealt with. It's going to come up, and it's going to rear its ugly head. And the most blessed place on the earth, there's an awesome phrase in the Course in Miracles that says, the holiest place upon the earth is the place where an ancient hatred becomes a present love. And so the space where you can have reflected back to you the parts of you that you've been holding in dissociation, the parts of you that hold extreme pain, extreme trauma, extreme drama. The greatest blessing you can have is someone who can hold the space for you and show you how to bring that forward. And if you bring that forward in willingness, which is exactly what Lynn did the other day, wow, does it move fast. If you bring it forward in resistance and unwillingness, oh my God, it can take forever to go through. It can take forever. You can go through 100 people that you blame, and there's no resolution because as long as we're blaming, we're in the hallucination. So this works about putting an end to hallucinations. We're glad you're here to share it with us, and we're delighted to have the blessing and the opportunity to share it with you. And we have some news. Yes, Jeanie.
Share with them, too, about the new intensive that we've added.
Well, actually, I was just starting to say there are actually a couple of new pieces of information that, and one of them is one that I haven't even gotten to share with you yet, honey, because I talked to Tim on the way back here, and he has arranged for us to do a workshop series in Chicago right after the intensive is complete. So we'll be heading to Chicago to do that in just a couple of weeks. So we don't have the exact details. He just called me just a little bit ago as I was driving into town to ship some things. So that's exciting. And then we have a new intensive that we've added to our intensive list. We'll be doing a 9-day intuitive development workshop beginning on September the 16th to the 24th. We'll be doing a 9-day intuitive development. So anybody that wants to take your work to the next level, in September, we'll be here at Heartland doing this 9-day intensive. We'll be doing why is this happening to me again as part of it, the forgiveness work. Of course, that's part of every workshop. We'll be doing still point breathing. We'll be tapping into the mind shifter process. And then the whole intuitive development intensive is a practicum on how to build the brain cells for really listening to our intuition, which is something that most of the world works to make sure we're never in touch with. The world works on suppress, lock away, hide away all intuitive thought, because if you have your intuitive faculties operating, you can't be lied to. The truth is always right there and available. And so that 9-day intensive will happen in September the 16th to the 24th. So we got lots happening, lots going on. Tim, any other developments since I talked to you a little while ago about the trip in Chicago? You're working on some other things too, and we're trying to see how it all comes together.
Yeah, we're hoping to get confirmation or final confirmation for you to be in Cary from the 21st through the 26th or 27th. And
right.
We've put the invitation out for 2 other places. One is in Des Plaines, and the other is in the Elgin area from the 28th through the 3rd. So we'll see what develops.
Cool. Well, it'll be fun to see how it all falls in place and comes together. That will be awesome.
Anyone on the phone?
Oh, any callers, Jeanie, or anything in the chat room
everybody's
happening?
just listening.
Okay. Lynn, we hope you're doing well today, and certainly everybody is appreciating the input that you've given in the forgiveness process and your willingness to do your work. It was pretty awesome last week, and we certainly hope that the benefits of that are unfolding in your life, which I'm sure they are. And we look forward to how it all unfolds. Is David with us today?
No, he's not.
Oh, okay. All right, I thought he might have joined us. We are in the middle of a 16-day Laws of Living intensive, so there's lots happening here at Heartland, lots of energy moving, lots of work taking place in Heartland right now.
And what are the dates on the intuitive intensive? Is that what Jeanie was just announcing?
Yeah, the intuitive is the 16th of September, the 16th through the 24th. So it'll start on a Friday night and go through a week the following Saturday. And so 16 days through the 24th. And it's a residential workshop. Of course, it'll include this awesome food, and the workshop materials, everything's totally included in the intensive. And we'll start here on a Friday night. So, people who have to travel can travel on Friday, take one day off of work, and then it goes through a week the following Saturday. So people just need to basically take a week plus one day for travel. The workshop finishes Saturday morning, and then people can travel back home on Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, that'll be September the 16th. We'll start that.
The flyer's on the website already, and I just put the new forgiveness worksheet out there, so it's out there now too.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. And if you haven't been on our website, there's there's weeks of material that you can spend time looking at and tapping into and learning from. So Jeanie is the webmaster who does all of that, has put all that together. And, an awesome job on that. Thank you. For all that it takes to figure that out. When Jeanie started doing the website, she had never touched a website before. Go take a look at it. It's awesome. The way this woman is able to figure things out and just put them together is amazing. We appreciate it. And other than that, we're going to be touring Florida this winter. So anybody who has a location in Florida that would like us to come and present, we'll be actually right now we're scheduled in Tampa, in Sarasota. We're looking at Venice. We're going to be in Boca Raton. We'll be doing some things in Fort Lauderdale. So we'll have lots of places we'll be presenting this winter in Florida. So if you have any other ideas for venues that we might come and present in, please give us a call, drop an email, drop Jeanie a note in the chat room, and let us know, and we'll come to your city. We'll come and present. Why is this happening to me then? My favorite thing to do in the world, and it's free. And the work is on the website free as well, if anybody wants to tap in there. I wish Peacemaker were with us. He sent us an email last week, and I would love to chat about that email. Bring forward some thoughts about that. But we'll wait till he gets back on the line. He hasn't missed many shows, has he? So hope everything's okay for him. So, Joe, how are things up in the Northeast? Anything exciting happening in your world there? How goes the process? How go the worksheets? What kind of exciting things are happening in your world? And, of course, we're here to support the process of healing. Our intensive right now, Laws of Living, is a 16-day workshop. We're actually going into, I think it's day 4 now of that workshop.
We're on day 4 right now.
Day 4, yeah. So we're just heading into day 4. We'll start right after the show today with day 4. Everybody's doing worksheets, and we're moving into Laws of Living material. And the Laws of Living material is a little different than the Why Is This Happening to Me Again, although it's based in the same principles. The whole idea being that there are eternal forces operative in the universe, that when we know how they work and we befriend them, they cooperate with us. When we don't know how they work and we think that law is some kind of restriction or control, or some superiors trying to run our lives, then the tendency is to get lost in the collisions. Avoidable collisions with the law. And, people talk about breaking a law, but the truth is you can't break a law. Laws are not to be obeyed. That's man's game, obey my rules, but that's got nothing to do with law. Law is not the rule of the superior. Laws are not to be obeyed. Laws happen. There's this thing called the law of gravity. Does the law of gravity ask to be obeyed? If you step off a cliff, there's no obeying or disobeying the law of gravity. You know exactly what's going to happen. It works the same way every time. 100% of the time, it will produce exactly the same result. You'll go down. And if you befriend and know how the law of gravity works, for instance, you start to study engineering and how gravity operates. By understanding that law, you have the liberty to fly airplanes. Now, an airplane does not fly by violating the law of gravity. an airplane flies by honoring the law of gravity. Every law in the universe is a friend. And if we know how it works and cooperate with it, then we have the liberty to move within it. If we don't know how it works, then the tendency is to find ourselves in avoidable collisions. And the law sustains no fracture. It's we who get hurt. And we get hurt when we bump into the law, step off the cliff and at the bottom bones break. The law doesn't care. The law doesn't care whether you obey it because there's no obedience to it. If you had a pair of wings and you stepped off the cliff, gravity would just as soon lift you up into the sky. So the law is no respecter of persons, doesn't have any desire to be obeyed. There's no authoritarian aspect to it. It's just, this is how it works, folks. When you go back into the Aramaic language, they understood exactly how the universe worked and exactly what our place was in it and exactly how to deal with those situations where, by and large, people didn't understand the law. They thought the law was an enemy, and we got bruised and beat up and banged around by avoidable collisions with it. If you understand the law, you'll stop colliding with it, and you'll just have the liberty to work within it. So that's the fun process that we're getting to do over the next 2 weeks before Chicago happens. So we're delighted we're going to be coming to Chicago. Hope all that falls in place, Tim. Looking forward to it.
Michael?
Yes, sweetie?
Joe says he's been working with Terry Dearmore, who said that he did your work in Nashville, Tennessee, and Terry is now the Unity Minister of Chantilly, Virginia.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, maybe he's going to have to invite us up to Chantilly. Jeanie?
He's listening, but he's in the chat room, so I'm waiting to see if he responds to you saying that.
Yeah, let's see if that's something that might work. It's been a long time since we've been to Virginia. About 3 years, I think, was the last trip there. So, Joe, we'd love to have an invitation to Chantilly and see when we might be able to put it into the schedule. Come play. See how things are happening there.
Nene says she's had some experiences after her arrival back. Joe says, you're on my list. I'll have you up soon. So Nene, call in, and she says, let me tell you. So give us a call and tell us over the phone. Press 1.
Yes, and Jeanie, your voice faded out when you shared what Joe had said. Do you want to say that again?
He says, it keeps, we're scrolling on me. Hold on a second.
Oh, okay.
He says, you're awesome, Mike. Yes, I'll have to have you up soon. And you too, Jeanie. And he says he'll talk to Terry. So I told Nene to call in, and she just said yes. So I'm waiting for her to dial in.
Oh, cool. Well, Nene was with us for teachers training, so it'll be interesting to hear what kind of things are unfolding for her in her world, what kind of things are happening. So that'll be cool to catch up with Nene. And we'll anticipate that the phone is going to ring in momentarily and a hand go up.
So she's dialing. I'm waiting.
Anything else exciting in your world, Tim?
Well, just the idea that I'm looking forward to Tuesday night and getting some more feedback about what we did last night or last Tuesday with Lynn's work, and
right.
And how we each of us, I think, the thought I had earlier was you should plug your health through relaxation or wellness through stillness. What's the name of your
wellness
meditation?
Through stillness?
I think that's another really good CD you have that people can get, which helps put good stuff in and help us process all of the not so good stuff that we're floating in.
Yeah, that one was a thing that I did back about 30 years ago when I was more into physical medicine, and it goes into balancing each of the centers, the glandular, limitive, nerve, digestive, muscular, circulatory systems, and energetically. Actually, one of the interesting pieces of feedback that we get on it is that people who are insomniacs never hear the end of the CD. It's a 20-minute meditation, and they go to sleep. So the insomniacs love it. And it's something that's on our website. If anybody's interested, jump on the website and energetically order it on the order product section. That's a $10 CD. And if you want to support us, that's a wonderful way to do it, is by ordering products that help us to keep this work going around the globe and around the planet. When we travel, 99% of our travel workshops are done free. And when we travel, we pay our own expenses. So if you want to help us do that and keep this radio show going, that would be awesome. And we have Nene. How are you, young lady?
Hello, my family.
Hey. How are you? We haven't heard from you since you got back.
Well, it was great. I had to stop in Orlando on my way here. And it was great. I was invited to teach tango. One of the milongas there. It was very nice. And so I stayed in a family's home, a friend there from tango, and it was great to tell about my work, and a couple of good experiences where they are ready to be healed. So that was very interesting as I went into that home, the mother and the daughter. So that was great.
Oh, fabulous. Cool.
Yeah, yes.
That's
and
okay.
then,
So you got to start to teach already?
Yes.
I should say, actually take your teaching to a new level.
They're interested in, promoting me. So I'm starting this week good.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I wanted to share that on Saturday, because I remember, Mike, that you said that when we have this new vitality, some people are going to be triggered a lot because, we bring the space of healing or love, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Saturday I went to the Tango Milonga party, and I met there with, this person that I've been on and off, Gary. And so I got there, and he was very distant, and as we were in the same table, people who dance together. And I noticed that when people came to say, "Hi, Nene, you look wonderful, you relaxed. We saw that you were, on YouTube, very nice. How was Orlando, your teaching?" When people came to greet me or say something, he would immediately react and try to get the attention away from me. Mm-hmm. And, he treated me very mean the whole evening. I just kept breathing and just, being connected to my source. So that was very interesting for me, because in my old consciousness, I would have reacted. I would have been reacting, doing things back. And for me, it was just like a big test.
So you're just able to hold the space?
Yeah, I was able to hold the space. Then when at the end of the evening, because it was very strong. Whatever I did, whoever, it was always, something mean, misqualification, always trying to put me down. Little things like he would sit and he would put his back so I couldn't see people dancing. Little things, but always like pushing me away from the area. So the things trigger. I was conscious. Yeah. So I was conscious, and then when I was driving back, I started canceling certain goals. Came back home, I did like 5 worksheets, and it led me to much healing between my daughter and I.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I said, well, how does it look like my life?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, have I done this behavior before? Where? And Michael, it took me there, and it was very strong, and I'm happy that I have my new tools, and I was very connected. And then I called my daughter next day, and I said, listen, I just found this out. I just remembered this, and I need your support to heal. So
let me understand. So you saw where you had done that same kind of behavior he was doing with you, with your daughter?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, wow. That's major.
Yes, so where have I been like not caring? Where have I showed that something is more important than she was? Little details that, why were other things important when she was small and I was an absent mother somehow? So that was very interesting. That one thing led me to the next.
Oh. You mean kind of like everything in your life is a gift? I acknowledge you for your willingness, Nene, instead of getting into your stuff about it and wanting to blame him, that there's nothing left in you to be triggered. You're able to hold the space, and then to see this connection that's what healing is about. Yeah.
Because everything was like if I could had a video, it was like a soap opera, me getting there, getting the people that started arriving to that table where I was, were people that in the past I've had a lot of issues that trigger my jealousy, my, like worthiness, my anger, hostility, all that. And I was there able to hold the space, just breathe, be, very connected. And I use all that data to go inside and remove.
Cool. Well, maybe this could be our first TV novella.
Yes.
It sounds like you got the whole script written in true life.
Yeah, true life, with an orchestra and everything, with the live orchestra.
Right there at the studio. That's very cool. Well, hey, that could be the starting point for it. Maybe we could call our novella The Life of Nene.
Yes, a whole tango, drama, so it's perfect. And I also realized other people were very supportive. Other people say, Nene, we hold you, people that know you from St. Louis, Missouri, were there. And, they say we hold this space. And then,
I didn't understand the name. People that know me from St. Louis were there?
Yes, they're a couple. She's a doctor, and he's like a TV camera person, but also he's a birth certificate practitioner.
Uh-huh. Oh,
and
cool.
He met you in Missouri like 20 years ago.
You never know when somebody's going to be there to hold the space, eh? That's awesome.
Yeah. And they looked at me and said, Nene, I know this must be difficult for you. We're holding the space for you. Just remember you're connected. You are God, very nicely. Very nicely. But one thing I did realize, Michael and Jeanie, that now I am in a space to be able to choose. Because that energy that really connected me to that person, the on and off, was really my carbon-based memory.
Right. Yep.
As in the intensive was so intense for me, and I was able to delete and go in deeper levels of healing. I also, noticed myself very disattached from that person, but I was not mean. But I felt that I was detached, that it was not for me anymore.
Right.
And I said, well, I now choose, I choose not to continue in this friendship or relationship, whatever, because I'm not that. I don't need to be mistreated or disrespectful or be ignored anymore.
Good for you. Sounds like that love of self score that you improved on is really paying off.
Yes. So
for those who And for those who don't know what I'm speaking of there, when we do an intensive, we do a thing called a personal code evaluation, and it breaks personal code down into 10 areas. And Nene just made huge leaps and bounds, particularly in that area of love of self. And instead of locking into the illusion of somebody else needing to be the source of your love, you're able to connect with your own. That's I mean, wow, what great fruit. And, you know, you might start writing the script for that first novella while it's all fresh in your mind, because it sounds like the whole detail right from the intensive on could be just perfect. And for those who don't know what I'm speaking of, we actually have a couple who are friends of ours out in Las Vegas. You heard us in the previous shows talking about Dr. Andraki and his wife Claudia, and she's from Mexico, and they really would like to see us create a healing with what's called in the Spanish world a novella. I guess the novella is something that just captures the mind of women all over the world, and they're kind of like a short form soap opera, only to do one that's based in healing and how to handle your life rather than how to do the drama and trauma game. So how about, making some notes on that? Maybe start to write the script, and let's see if we can, maybe put that into production. That would be awesome.
Yeah, but it was very nice because I went in there, and the first people I noticed, and this couple, the doctor and the camera person, they are loving and caring. I said, Nene, and I said, Ozark Mountain. I said, oh, Michael, of course, we know him. Like, oh, okay. So that was like setting to create, strengthen my space. And then the rest of the characters arrived, and the whole evening was that. Holding and
one of the things that we've been working to do for 40 years is to create a critical mass. And you look back at the words of Yeshua in Aramaic, and he was a physicist saying this, not a theologian. He says a little leavening leavens the whole loaf. He wasn't talking about bread. He was talking about us as human beings. And so, to me, that's just one of the signals that we're getting to critical mass, that here you are in a situation where you're going to be challenged in major ways, and somebody from, 1,000 miles away just happens to show up at the same table and be tapped into the same work and say, by the way, I'm here to hold the space for you. I mean, if that isn't critical mass, I don't know what is. And the teacher's training itself that you were part of, I've been doing teacher's training for about 15 years, and the group that was there had such a grasp of the principles and the ability to present them at least 60% higher in terms of skill level and presentation than maybe 2 or 3 people over 15 years that have done teacher's training. That was the level of comprehension and presentation at our teacher training this year. And so it was really awesome. And to me, it's all just speaking of that we're getting close to critical mass. So we're just around the corner from that shift taking place. Yes.
Yeah, so I say this is very powerful, and I'm still more enthusiastic about continuing. And I'm doing, my love exercise in the mirror every day. And this week, I have other people that are interested in knowing a little about more this work, so I can start scheduling the workshops. Cool.
Fabulous. Well, Jeanie tells me there's somebody else on the line. If you want to just stay on with us, let's see who's calling. What area code are you calling from? Give us a name and
Michael, this is Ayu.
Hi there, young lady. Well, here's teacher's training number 2. Ayu is one of our teacher's training participants, along with Nene. That's awesome. Welcome.
Right. Well, the issue that I'm facing right now is I'm staying with somebody who's going through a messy divorce, and what's happening is I feel I'm getting caught in the battle between them, and there's no opening. There's no opening for any of them to hear anything other than, do you see what I have to go through? Do you see it? You see? And there's just no space, totally no space. But I spoke to my friend this morning, and she wanted me to agree with her, and I said to her, I was explaining about power person behavior, and she's saying, she put her hands over her ears and says, I don't want to hear anything.
Well, the first hit that I get, Dayu, the first hit that I get intuitively is to, rather than trying to say it verbally, because remember that once the 9-bit mind is full of information, for those who don't know what I mean by that, there's some Harvard research that says that in a time frame where 10,000 brain cells are firing, the max amount of information you can be aware of is 9 bits. Their 9-bit minds are so full with their defense and their attack and wanting to be right, there's not much room to say anything. However, if you could get them both to lay down and breathe, watch the shift that takes place.
Right. Well, the thing is, they're not
That's
in the
what I
same.
do.
They're not both in the same home. I mean, they're in separate places.
Yeah.
It's just, you know.
Yeah, I don't mean you have to breathe them both at the same. I don't mean you have to breathe them both at the same time. But
I understand, but my friend who I'm staying with has not been open. She said, well, maybe, but there just hasn't been time. So her biggest thing is there isn't enough time. There is no time. For this, there's no time for that, you know. And so, I don't know, it just seems very uncomfortable for me to continue staying there where there's no space, no opening, and on top of that, I have to listen to basically where, you know, I mean, it was fine for a few days, but it's just the same thing over and over, basically, and I'm not in a space where I can agree with her anymore. I just can't. I mean, I've learned too much.
So have you done any worksheets around what's coming up for you in that space that you're uncomfortable?
Worksheet. Yeah, I haven't done one specifically on I'm uncomfortable as the title of the worksheet or as the the trigger, but I came out of the space of various emotions that I was going through, and I'm in a more peaceful place right now. But and I have made a clear decision that I'm simply going to share with her that at this point in time, I don't feel it's in synchronicity for me to stay there, and I'm going to move into another place. But so this is coming more from a place of peace rather than I have to leave, where I was at before. It's just a different kind of decision. However, the issue that I want to call in about is how do you deal with that? How do you? I mean, okay. So say the person is not even open to breathing. How do you?
Well,
how do you
the
continue
first order of business.
How do you continue to stay in a situation like that? Because obviously I'm there to bring her a certain vibration too.
Okay. So to answer your question, if we were in the intensive, I'd turn to the board and point to all of the above. The first order of business would be, I'm uncomfortable. My discomfort is based in what? Hostility or fear? Then what I want to do is remove, through forgiveness, anything in my mind that's based in hostility or fear. As Nene just shared, I don't know if you were listening to Nene, but she went into this situation.
I wasn't on the call. No, I just joined, so I didn't hear her.
Okay, well, let me share what happened for Nene. As she was on her way back, she stopped in Orlando and then on to South Florida. Going to have to do it quickly. We've only got 90 seconds left. And what she did was she went into a place that brought up all kinds of discomfort for her. Someone ignoring her, dissing her, et cetera, and she looked at that and asked herself the question, how does this look like my life? And what she just shared with us is that she found that when her daughter was younger, she did some of the same stuff to her daughter. And so you might want to look at how does it look like your life to try to convince somebody you're right, somebody else is wrong, and get them on your side. And, that might produce another piece of healing for you. And certainly you have the right to say, it's time for me to move on. But at the same time as you move on, you might do some worksheets around that and see what unfolds.
Okay.
And our show time is over, and so I'm going to have to call on Jeanie to hit the button to close the show because otherwise we're going to get cut off. But we could continue the conversation.
Thank you for listening to Mind Shifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce and his wife Jeanie, who present that internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeanie are here every Monday through Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.